I give to you here the 3 reasons why Roger Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time. And in fact, I believe he's the greatest athlete of all time. But for these purposes in this video, I want to demonstrate why he is indisputably, without a question, unequivocally, incontrovertibly the greatest tennis player of all time. 3 reasons. First, the numbers. He's got the numbers. He's won more Grand Slams than any other player in history. And the most important tournament within those Grand Slams, Wimbledon, he's won more times than any other player. Wimbledon is the greatest tennis tournament of all time, and Roger Federer holds the record, not only for the greatest number of Grand Slams, but the largest number of Wimbledon titles, and he could be winning more Wimbledon titles. We'll just have to see. He holds a record for holding the #1 spot, the #1 player in the world. He's been #1 for longer than, he's not #1 now, but he's been at the top spot for longer than any other player in history, and for more consecutive weeks than any other player in history. He is second only to Jimmy Connors in the number of titles that he holds. But it's worth noting that one of the contenders for the GOAT, or the greatest of all time, perhaps the main contender as against Federer, Rafael Nadal, is 20 notches behind Federer in terms of title wins. Now, it's very unlikely that Rafael Nadal is going to win 20 more titles, but it's even more unlikely that Roger Federer will not win more titles than he has now. So, I mean, the gap is probably going to grow. So the numbers demonstrate that Federer is the best. The second reason why Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time is his style, his range of play, the range of shots that he has. The slice backhand, the topspin backhand, the net play, which can be just so gorgeous and finessed in a way that, I mean, he plays the net. I mean, like the best serve and volleyers that the sport has seen. I mean, he's definitely as good at the net as Pete Sampras or John McEnroe, or Rod Laver for that matter. But he has an amazing serve. His forehand is probably the best in the game. And he is just all around in terms of his movement, his efficiency, his running forehands, his squash shots. It's just the range of shots that he has and the different variations on his backhand and his forehand. I mean, it's too complex to go into all these shots. His over-the-top slams, I mean, his overheads are an amazing array of shots. So there again, when you put him next to Nadal, Nadal does not have the range. Nadal is really more like a swashbuckler. He's a swashbuckling player. I mean, he just has some main staple core tools, and if he hammers them home, and doesn't try to be too good, if he just hammers them home and returning shots and keeping balls in play, he can beat even Roger Federer sometimes. But in terms of the range of play and the style, the finesse, Federer, the quality of the play, in other words, Federer is the greatest player of all time. And then finally, and this is important and something that people are sort of implying but that aren't stating specifically when they talk about Federer, his longevity. Not only Roger Federer's numbers demonstrate that he's the greatest of all time, not only the range of play and the diversity and variation of shot-making abilities that he has, not only does that really by itself render him the greatest of all time, but also his longevity. This comeback, this second wind that he's had, has been truly breathtaking to watch. And he has now demonstrated himself to be the greatest of all time by virtue of his longevity. He is 36 years old, and he is literally basically old enough to be the father of the young guns on the tour, and yet he's still beating these guys. So those are the three factors. It's indisputable, it's unequivocal. Roger Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time for three reasons: the numbers, the range and style and variation of play, and the longevity. Federer, we love you. I'll be making more comments, and this is basically the estimation as of January 7th, 2018. I don't think anything's going to happen in 2018 that changes that, and to be quite honest, I don't think anything's going to happen ever that changes Roger Federer's status as the greatest tennis player, and to my mind, the greatest sportsman of all time. All praise Roger Federer. I'm looking incredibly so much forward to watching him at the Australian, and there'll be more on that later. Be well. Talk soon. Bye.